Silver is in heaven right now because he's like, oh, that money's going to be rolling. If I get LeBron James and Steph Curry in a primetime playoff game, winner goes to the playoffs.
To another brand new episode, E on the mic, episode 29. I'm your host, E, aka Ethan, and I'm here today with another brand new episode today. I brought on a special guest today. He is from the Warzone. He is new addition to the Warzone. Introducing, he doesn't officiate with Justin Tucker, but Tony Tucker. What's going on?
I wish I had access to Justin Tucker, Chris Tucker. What you talking about, man? You know what I mean?
True.
Chris Tucker, that might be a little dated reference. Chris Tucker from Friday, Rush Hour. Very, very funny man in the early 2000s.
I should have said Chris Tucker, but I just thought Justin Tucker right there.
It's a sports. Justin Tucker made more sense. We could have went with Justin Tucker. Actually, I'm a mixture of the two. We've got Justin Tucker and what's the? You just said his name. No, I forget. I already.
It's all good. We listen. By the time we look back at it, it's like, all right, that's what we said.
Justin Tuck. That's what I meant to say. For the defensive lineman for the Giants. Justin Tuck. So a mixture of Tucker right there.
There you go. Congratulations, Tony. There we go. That's how we started off the episode. What's going on?
Way to fumble it, Daniel Jones. Goodness gracious.
Way to butt fumble it, Mark Sanchez. What's going on, Tony? What's going on?
Not much. I'm out here in La La Land, mopping up my tears. We're going to talk about that, I'm sure. The Lakers, they're fumbling, getting tons of draft talk and conversation. And I'm just ready to get here with your audience and see who agrees and disagrees with all the nonsense coming out of my mouth.
Oh yeah, let's get going. But before we head into the topics today, you want to know a little bit more about you, Tony, man. I know you just recently joined the Warzone not too long ago. We actually met with Joe Morley when Joe Morley was the host at one time when I was a special guest, and then that was when your first time going on. So how did the Warzone get you on their show?
They just reached out. They came on. I was doing stuff with Project Dribble. So just a little further backstory. I had been out here acting, auditioning, doing all that stuff. The pandemic hits. My wife and I, we buy a house outside of the city. And I don't want to drive back in for auditions anymore. And I just decided that I'd like to start, I love sports. I got all the camera and lighting equipment from all of my time of doing my own independent productions as far as comedy and entertainment side. And I was like, why don't I just start Project Dribble? Like you buy a house, you need a project, in a garage, whatever it is. I don't have any handyman skills, I'm not a Renaissance man. I don't know how to wield a hammer. But I feel pretty comfortable in front of a camera and a microphone, so I came up with Project Dribble. They came on. We always had a good rapport and reputation, and they were like, you want to join us? Absolutely.
Wow. This is something new I didn't know about you. I didn't know you were an actor.
I was in your neck of the woods last year. I did a bunch of commercials for Carnival Cruise. We flew out of the port in Miami. So I did like a 6-day cruise, and I got to walk around the ship, and I was just doing a bunch of ads for a campaign they had, which actually got shut down. Probably cost me a little bit of money. And during the pandemic, because nobody could cruise, so they stopped airing my commercials.
Wow. I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to think of the Carnival commercials I've seen on TV. I'm like trying to see if I ever saw you there. I'm like, that doesn't come up to me right now for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know how, because they didn't start airing until almost October, right? October, November, and then they were off the air in March. So they weren't on for about 3 or 4 months. But yeah, they've done some other things, fun stuff. But it's all in the past. No more auditioning for me.
It's a funny story to talk about. That's all. It's a story to talk about.
It was a great time, and I loved Miami. It was like the first time as an adult I got to go to Little Havana. I had fun when I was there. Miami Beach. It was a great time.
little Havana would be nice, especially getting Cuban coffee down there. Ooh.
Sandwiches.
Oh my gosh, the sandwiches. Yo, those sandwiches rock, man. I love those sandwiches. I even had that in the Hard Rock, though.
Cuban sandwich, when you get it and it's made authentically, oh, it's good.
When it's made by a Cubano, you know it's good. You already know it's good. If you know it's somebody else, it's not gonna be as great. I'm telling you that right now. Agreed. So, but let's dive into the sports. Let's go into fantasy football-wise, Tony. Let's go into the Aaron Rodgers situation. So Aaron Rodgers getting very disgruntled. He might either retire, or he might get traded somewhere, or sit out. But how is this gonna affect Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and Robert Tonyan in the mix? How are they gonna affect those three players?
Well, it would sort of just be like, you know, if you dropped a brick and a feather, like just fall, like it would just be falling to the ground. With Aaron Rodgers, it's nice, it's comfortable, you don't have to worry about it. If it's a brick, move out. Like that is just falling, their stock would just be dropping incredibly fast, right? And it doesn't, if you're going to Jordan Love, it's a lot of the stuff that we see with Devontae Adams is back shoulder throws and timing routes, anticipation. They know each other so well. So you're still going to get good production out of them. The other good news is there's probably going to be a lot more garbage time if they're switching over to a Jordan Love or they bring in a veteran quarterback. Like, let's say the Broncos trade happens and they get Teddy Two Gloves there. You're probably going to get some more garbage time, but you're not going to have the big leads. I still think the offensive line is pretty good, so Aaron Jones will be good. But think about what he does in the passing game. Everybody in fantasy around Aaron Rodgers is elevated because of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he makes their careers, but you definitely got to believe that they're better because they're playing with him.
That's agreeable, especially when nobody has ever heard of Robert Tonyan until that year, and he was doing productive last season. I'm telling you, like Robert Tonyan came out of nowhere, and people were already mentioning Tonyan getting off of fantasy wires and stuff like that. And Adams is going to be adjustable for Jordan Love, especially if they haven't connected really too good, and they haven't really praised Jordan Love as much in practice. That's why they want to keep Aaron Rodgers trying to, because they try to max him out, like pay him higher than Patrick Mahomes. That's crazy. And they try just convincing all the options they have, like trying to keep Aaron Rodgers and not going to Jeopardy or going somewhere else. But it's too late for that, honestly, for Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of like one of those last-minute bitch attempts to keep Aaron Rodgers. Hey, here, please. Here's the money that you always wanted.
I'm not sure it's about money for him. I don't think that he's necessarily worried about being the highest paid player. I think it's more about the moves they're making, right? Over the last 10 years, the only offensive player they drafted was Jordan Love, was his backup. Everybody else has been on the defensive side of the ball with first-round picks. And he's like, hey, this year, before the draft, he announces that he wants to be traded. There was a bunch of wide receivers that they could have went and drafted and got for him. Or at least get offensive line or trade down and then get a couple of receivers in the second round or a receiver and whatever. I don't know that the cornerback from Georgia wouldn't have been there if they would have traded back into the second round and then been able to get another second or maybe a third or fourth round pick and add receivers. They did add Amari Rodgers. That's not enough to make him happy. I honestly believe this. Aaron Rodgers knows. He's calculating. He's smart. He knows Jordan Love is probably not going to be that good. And he wants to leave them looking like fools, forcing them to either play Jordan Love or bring in another veteran and see. That's why I think that he could actually sit out for 1 year just so that he could show the world and try to embarrass them for picking a quarterback when they were projecting that he was done. It's a lot of money to leave on the table. $20-something million. You got to repay in signing bonuses and then regular. It's like $50-something million you can leave it on the table.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing. I love how they picked Amari Rodgers just in the third round, just to please. Oh look, we got a wide receiver for you in the third round with your last name on it. And kind of, he's like trying to please the hell out of him. I'm like, listen, look, we got Amari Rodgers. We're trying to offer you the biggest contract ever, more than Patrick Mahomes. trying to keep him there to stay alive, which is not going to work for Aaron Rodgers.
I think Amari Rodgers could fit in sort of that Randall Cobb role that he really liked having Randall, that guy who could play the slot a little bit and do those tricks. I think Amari Rodgers could fit nicely in there. And the thing is, Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talented quarterbacks maybe to ever play the game. So it doesn't matter who they bring in. He makes guys like MVS and Alan Lazard. We didn't know about these guys going into drafts, the average fans. Great quarterback play will elevate them. It's why I said think good things about the tight end the Chargers picked in the 4th round. People were bagging on it. Justin Herbert's that guy. He's going to elevate whoever you put out there.
That's true. Especially since I know you were a Green Bay Packers fan. Now moving on to who knows, the Rams or the Chargers. I don't want you to convince me to be the Chargers fan, because unless you want to be like Sean and be miserable with the Chargers, not getting at least a Super Bowl ring. You've seen Title Town got championship rings. The Dolphins got championship rings. Chargers, we don't talk about that. But the Rams, though, has some championships. So if you want to be a team, go to the Rams. They have a nice team, though. I know it's off topic, but I'm saying Rams, though.
So he was kind of filled me in on some of the story. I grew up a huge Packers fan. Don't be fooled by the Polamalu jersey back there. He's just one of my favorite players. My mom was a big Steelers fan. It's fine. I have my Favre jersey over there. I didn't put it up. I put up Polamalu instead. I will say this. I am a bitter former Packers fan because the same thing Aaron Rodgers is complaining about right now, he did that to Brett Favre. He was the guy who slipped in the draft. Green Bay's a small town. They operate this way. They want the next man on deck. That is a smart way to do business because they're not going to pull a lot of free agents. So I left with Favre. I even have a Favre Jets jersey over there. I couldn't bring myself to get a Vikings one just because I had hated the Vikings for so long. I still cheered for him on the Vikings for 2 seasons, but I couldn't do it. So with Aaron Rodgers, everything that's going on right now is the same thing he did 14 years ago, 15 years ago to Brett Favre. It's the same exact scenario playing out where they're just trying to make sure that they have the next guy when their Hall of Famer retires.
That's true, but you're killing me, Smalls, with that one. You're killing me.
Yes,
You're killing me, Smalls. You're going from the Packers to one of the LA teams. Good luck. I'll just tell you that.
Well, now that I live out here, here's E, and I want to ask for your advice on this.
Yeah.
So, my brother-in-law is a season ticket holder to the Chargers. Mm-hmm. My brother is a season ticket holder to the Rams. I happen to be a humongous Justin Herbert fan, and I'm just torn at which team to pick because the Rams spend money, but Justin Herbert is the real. Who should I pick?
Oh my God! Especially I have Justin Herbert as sneaky MVP this year too, and the Rams look so OP right now for the next 2 years, especially without that many contracts they have, in a few years to deal with it. I think they'll just probably bank it on Chargers though at the same time because at least Herbert's the future-wise, and the Rams you have it for 2 years and then that could just dissolve and then go right back to the same old Rams you probably saw about a few years before Aaron Rodgers existed with the Rams. So I'll go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers have a much future for Justin Herbert, especially we still have Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, who's a good catch and the run game. So I'll go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers have a much better future future-wise than the Rams. Because the Rams is right now. This is it. Because they traded away a lot of picks for the future in order to get this team that they have right now.
Definitely.
Right now. So
definitely. I'm going to take all of that into strong consideration. I'm going to do like a silly jersey reveal thing where I'm going to put the jersey behind me and then I'm going to like pull, I'm going to do it live whenever I decide.
Letting you know, if you do it with Joe Morley on the show. If you want to do that, do it with Joe Morley. Just so if it's the Chargers, bring on Joe Morley.
I think I'm going to do it live with Joe and Mike at the same time. I'll have them make sure they can both be on, and I'm going to do because I haven't had a team for 14 years. I've just been like a nomad. I follow my fantasy team, El Comandante.
Wow. Hey, whatever you choose. choose the right one, and hopefully it's not gonna be a misery like the Cleveland Browns for the past couple years until now.
Yes.
Hopefully. Well, let's go right back to the fantasy wise, man. Let's go to the rookies now. So, which rookie do you see that's gonna be the most productive in fantasy this year?
Well, I think Kyle Pitts is a pretty obvious answer, right? Because you're going to be in a dome with a veteran quarterback, and you're still going to have. It's not like he got drafted to a team and he's surrounded by garbage where he's going to get double teamed. You can't double team him because if Julio's healthy and Calvin Ridley's healthy, you're going to have some options there. I think if I went running back, I really like Javonte Williams, where he landed with the Denver Broncos. I think it won't be hard to surpass Melvin Gordon on the depth chart late in the year, especially if Gordon's banged up. That could be a good time to have that guy when the fantasy playoffs roll around. Receivers, you kind of got to look around and say which of these guys ended up in a situation where they're going to get garbage time. Jamar Chase and the Bengals is right there. Moore for the Jets in the slot could be a guy that could pick you up, some yak and some, have a high catch rate. Who else do I like? I like both. You kind of gotta watch which receiver in Baltimore hits. Is it Bateman or is it Wallace? Which one of those guys does Lamar Jackson have an early connection with and tend to favor there? Because I love Sammy Watkins. He just can't stay healthy. He's never stayed healthy in his career. And then I would say this. I like your guy out there in Miami. I like Jalen Waddle, if he can stay healthy, to be a weapon. If you're taking him at 6 and you're passing on Sewell, who I thought they should have taken, you better have plans to get that kid to football.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I had Kyle Pitts as a favorite, and I also had like Jalen Waddle, especially since you have Parker, which I know they're injury prone, Parker, Will Fuller, but if they're healthy, because they're gonna focus, because the defense is gonna focus on Parker and Will Fuller. And if you have Jalen Waddle in the mix at the number 3rd spot, and he's rolling, man, you can't stop him, man. He'll rank up some fantasy points, honestly. You've seen those routes he's done in Alabama where he just goes on a slant route and then just goes and gone, kind of similar to Tyreek Hill, what they mentioned, which I know everyone was saying, oh, we should have picked Sewell, which I know there's like one Dolphins fan that actually cried about it, but I'm just saying, I think Waddle is a good selection. I know it was too high to get a wide receiver there, but that's why we traded down to get to the number 6 spot to get a wide receiver. So it wouldn't be as bad as if we picked it at number 3. That would have been worse.
Well, yeah, and they got, overall, I tend to trust. I didn't love the Dolphins draft, right? Like I didn't love it, and I think it was more because they didn't take Sewell, right? But I tend to trust coaches that I think are great, and I think Brian Flores is a great football coach. I love what he's done with the defense, and I love how the team responds to him. It feels like early Mike Tomlin when he took over for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's just a guy that gets in there, can relate with his players, and he connects with them, and they want to play hard for him. The Dolphins have had some injury issues. I think Flores' hand was forced last year to go to Fitzpatrick. I really would have loved to see what he could do there. I think Fitzpatrick is actually going to have a good year with the Washington football team. But I would tend to think that if they can get Waddle and Gesicki in the middle of the field, Waddle's going to get a lot of underneath stuff if you can send Gesicki on those streaks. So I think he's going to be able to have, some success towards the end of the year when him and Tua really get clicking.
There you go. It happens. But yeah, no, we have weapons there, and so this is prove a year for Tua, honestly, at the same time. For Tua to step up, especially we have the weapons now. So last year we ended off with like people you probably never heard of, like Malcolm Perry, who was a former quarterback for the Navy, and then going to the guy that dropped the pass and then somehow miraculously catches for the Fitzpatrick with a face mask. So that's the players we had near the end of the season. So it wasn't a healthy one, but hopefully we're going to have healthy and then improve for anything for fantasy wise at the same time.
Definitely. Would have loved to see Preston Williams stay healthy too for you guys. He has so much promise. I would say this. I don't think it's necessarily the prove it year as people, because prove it means if you don't prove it, you're gone. I would say it's sort of the stay afloat season. Can you not have this team go backwards? If he can maintain sort of a 10-7 record, you know, like maybe even 9-8, if he can have a winning year in this new 17-game world we live in, I think that's good. Stay healthy and keep the team above 500. The prove it year will come in year 2 of starting. Year 3, he's got a full year under his belt. Then it's like, okay, now prove it. Because now we're looking at 5th-year options. We're looking at long-term contracts. There'll be more quarterbacks in the draft. Veterans will be available. Aaron Rodgers could be more of an option at that time. So I think it's like a stay afloat, not necessarily prove that you are, you know, Herbert, Mahomes in that territory.
Which I agree, because everyone's throwing Tua really under the bus after one season. He hasn't even played a full season, and everyone's throwing him under the bus. Everyone forgets that he was rehabbing last season. So it's like, well, you know, is he gonna play a full 16 or 17 games? But I think he can. But that's just me, you know. I mean, I think Tua can make it happen. You just gotta get a winning season. Just gotta do. I think maybe 11 wins would be a nice one, but we'll see. We gotta see. Our defense is nice. Our offense is always the problem. Our offense is the problem. You saw it last season. You gotta look at film. It's the defense that helped us win some games too. Our offense couldn't stay on the field for its life.
I'll be interested to see if Waddle ends up on special teams too. They have.
I think so. Especially since right now Jakeem Grant is on special teams. I think they're gonna probably see experiment with Waddle, especially since this year's gonna be some preseason games. That'll be interesting to see. So now we're going to your favorite topic now, to the NBA, since the play-in tournament is coming in soon. There's about 5 more games or less in the remaining. So let's review some of the play-in tournaments that are right now, that's in the playoffs as of right now, or is fighting for the play-in tournament right now. So let's go with the East. So the East right now, the Knicks at number 4, the most shocking thing, they're at number 4. The Hawks at 5th, the 6th, the Heat, Celtics at 7, Hornets at 8, Pacers at 9, Washington at 10. Who do you think out of those teams you think are safe? They're going to make the playoffs. They don't have to be in that play-in tournament on the East side.
I should have looked at the standings. I feel like the Knicks are on pretty solid ground up there. I think anywhere from like 6 to 10, you can kind of see some up and down. Because really the thing that you want to do is you want to at least be in the 7 or 8. So at least we get the second chance. If you have a bad game in the 7-8 game, at least then you get a chance to then beat the 9-10. You know, like that is the one saving grace. So I would say the Celtics find a way to get there, and then that play-in game is probably the Hornets Heat, that first one. I like the Heat in that matchup. I really like the Heat to just like click in the postseason no matter what. If they can be healthy with Oladipo, they have veterans that are battle tested, and a coach that has been in the finals and coached Wade and LeBron and Bosh and Haslam and just all these guys. So I like the Heat to be a tough out in the first round of the playoffs. I think they're in. And then I would say that the Hornets lose that game, and then who would they be playing?
They either play the Wizards or the Pacers. I like the Wizards' opportunity, the way the Wizards have been playing so far. I've been loving the Wizards right now. How they've been playing. It's gonna be tough though. It's these division rivals.
You're right. I think that it would serve to the narrative that Westbrook wins that matchup, the first one, gets the chance, and then the Hornets beat him, and everybody's like, see, LaMelo Ball's already better than Westbrook. That's all the internet's just like, LaMelo Ball's in the playoffs. He beat triple-double man.
And then gets blown out by the 76ers.
Yes, exactly. And then they just get wiped
out by the 76ers.
Yeah.
That's going to be sad to see, honestly. I don't complain about that. I think the Knicks are still going to be there. The Hawks, I think they're still going to make it there. The 6th spot's going to be very interesting. In Boston, the Heat are going to play back to back. So it's tomorrow on Sunday and on Tuesday. So it's gonna be very interesting to see which one comes out victorious. But I think that he has a tougher road game. So I think they can edge out the Boston. If it depends on the 2 games they play against Boston. I think that's what's going to be major out. And I think if the Celtics do go in 7, I think they win that spot. And then I think the Wizards, like you said, going to win that spot against the Hornets. But I think you said about the Hornets, but I think the Wizards can edge out LaMelo Ball and the Hornets. And I think the Hornets might ease out because the way how the Wizards been playing though, I mean they got really close with the Milwaukee Bucks the other day. Just to remind everyone that Milwaukee Bucks were almost about to lose to the Wizards because they stole the ball, but the guy stepped out the bounds. So I like the Wizards' chances, although everyone's going to say now that Westbrook is the legend because of the stats.
That was actually like a really great game, the end of that Wizards-Bucks game. And to be honest, I'm just joking about the narrative of like the Hornets and Wizards, right? Like I'm just being silly. I think that the way that the Wizards have been able to get it together. I like the coach. I believe it's Scotty Brooks who's there. I think he's had some success in the NBA. And Russ and Bradley Beal are starting to gel. It all comes down to the late game decision making and shot taking by Russell Westbrook, who is a phenomenal player. I'm just saying there's been a lot of conversation lately about whether or not where Westbrook ranks, and if you don't say he's top 5 all time, you're a hater. It's like it'll just add to that fire if he gets knocked out by LaMelo Ball.
It's just Russell Westbrook needs to be clutch. That's all. I think that's the only thing that's missing. He has all the lovely stats, but you just gotta be clutch in the playoffs. That's all.
But I don't even know. To me, that's like I don't know what that means because if he's getting into the playoffs and he's winning, basketball is a team game, and we tend to act like LeBron never missed, Kobe never missed, Jordan never missed. Like people can't be clutch all the time. I think since he doesn't have a signature moment, we tend to say he's not clutch. But he's done a lot of winning in this league, so.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I'm not saying he's not a winner. I'm just saying for me, like coming postseason times, like where you see where the MVP Westbrook that at one time where he was going really good with OKC, for example, can he transition that to the playoffs? Kind of like how James Harden was with the Rockets at the same time. I think that's what Westbrook needs to step up a little bit more. But I understand it was a rough year for the Wizards, so it's one of those very interesting things you want to see. Well, who would like to see the Wizards in the Nets matchup though? If that happens.
Okay, I would love to see Wizards. We could find a way to get the Nets in the 1 seed and the Wizards in the 8 seed. That would be the best first round playoff matchup. I just want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
Basketball seems to get highlighted as a superstar individual sport. That is a mis-narrative that should not be. Teams win with great players on them, right? So like Jordan and the Bulls, Jordan didn't get over the hump till he got Scottie Pippen. LeBron left, right?
Left Cleveland, went to Miami.
Went to Miami. You had Kobe, who struggled for years until they brought Gasol back after he had early success with Shaq. You have to have the coaching. You have to have the depth. Some of those teams that Westbrook was on did not have depth. You know, like this Wizards team does not have a lot of depth. It is not fair to put him there. There are very few guys, this is why I love Chris Paul so much, who have that extra added ability to elevate average talent and add a little bit of depth. We're seeing what the Suns are able to do this year because that team has more scoring, a little more depth. Guys like Bridges are coming on, veterans and Crowder. But if there's this weird thing that it's like, oh, dudes aren't clutch. It's like you have to have other teammates that allow you to get to clutch situations and not be totally burnt out. You know, that's the James Harden thing. James Harden gets to the end. That's why I think that the Nets are actually kind of scary because he's not going to be burnt out for the playoff run. He's going to be fully healthy. So he needs to have a great run in the playoffs, and then he needs to put the Nets in the NBA Finals this year.
Yeah, especially since now James Harden is not like the focal point of the team now. It's more like KD, Kyrie, and then the three trio. It's not like all James Harden right there in that Houston Rockets time. Of course, when they had Chris Paul at the time, then they would have PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, things like that. But I still think Russell Westbrook matchup though. The Wizards eventually get to the 8th seed. I'm somehow going to see the Wizards making it to the 8th seed. Some way, somehow, the Wizards they play against the Pacers tonight. That's a dub. That's a win because they beat the Pacers and it was back to back. So I think the Wizards have a chance. I'm gonna say the Wizards have a chance at the 8th seed.
Yeah, dissing my guy Sabonis. Take that, Demonis.
Hey, it's, like you said about coaching, they're not loving the coaching there in Indiana, so that coach might get the boot too. So
yeah,
and Milwaukee too. If they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or better, you might get the boot as well.
Yes, I could definitely see that, and I could see them trying to bring in more of a big-time coach, which honestly, I don't even know who that is. I don't know if he could do better than Budenholzer right now, but I do agree with you. Somebody is going to need to be sacrificed because they just gave all of that money to Giannis. And just to remove some of the heat from him, all of a sudden you'll start hearing, oh, well, Budenholzer made some bad calls here, made some bad calls here. It's like, yeah, but he ain't dribbling, he's not taking the shots. He may have made a couple bad calls, but you need your $200 million man.
Come on, big.
Step up. Yeah.
Come on, big. And now to your favorite conference, the Western Conference. Your LA Lakers losing to the Trailblazers yesterday. Now the Trailblazers are number 6. So looking at the standings right now, the Mavericks are at 5th, Trailblazers 6, the Lakers at 7, the lovely Warriors at 8 for the matchup for the play-in that ended today, the Grizzlies and the Spurs. So let's talk about the Lakers, man. What's going on with your Lakers? I know LeBron is, of course, injured. You guys lost that crucial game that you needed to beat Trailblazers to get that tiebreaker for the 6. And it's looking really bad right now for the Lakers. And they might even play against Steph Curry in the play-in, first off. And then they might even have to play either Grizzlies or Spurs. So what do you think about it?
I think Adam Silver is in heaven right now because he's like, oh, that money's going to be rolling. If I get LeBron James and Steph Curry in a primetime playoff game, winner goes to the playoffs, that's going to be one of the highest rated games of the season. Winner gets in, LeBron versus Steph Curry. He can market that for days. Everybody will be talking about it. We will all win. Here is my fear. The Lakers are putting their hopes into the 36-year-old ankle of a guy that has circumnavigated the globe in NBA minutes about 97,000 times. Like, he has got so much mileage on his body that he has to be able to have guys like Dennis Schroeder dribbling the ball, taking pressure off of him, and AD has to play like he played last night. What I saw from AD last night, blocking shots, dominating the glass, threes, step backs, using his size to his advantage. He played the best game that he has played probably all year. At least the best fourth quarter that he's played all year in that game against the Blazers last night, but it wasn't enough. You can't be without Schroeder and you can't be without LeBron on this team. My fear is this, that Steph Curry gets hot, drops a 50-piece on the Lakers, they lose that game, and then early on they're playing the Grizzlies or a team like the Spurs, and LeBron gets a little hobbled, can't quite be himself. And then they go from being champs to losing both games in a play-in, and they're not in. Because don't sleep on the Spurs and what Popovich can do. That team's not chock full of talent right now, but Popovich is one of the greatest coaches of all time. And so that Spurs team is good. And I think that just coming down to a coaching scenario, I love the Grizzlies, and I'm a huge Ja Morant fan. But I like the Spurs in that matchup. And I don't like Popovich out coaching in a one-game series where we are two ankles away. AD and LeBron's ankles away from snapping and going home. But this is just chicken. As soon as LeBron got injured, I went Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Somebody help us. Because I knew this was going to happen, that they were going to end up in this end of the playoff bracket. because you watch the team, it's built around LeBron James, and they did a pretty good job of staying afloat.
Yeah, man. It's just seeing from when the time when LeBron got injured, they were at the number 3rd spot or the 2nd spot, going all the way down to the 7th spot. Managed holding that 6 and 7, but that crucial loss to the Trailblazers was a crucial one, especially. So it's gonna be very interesting in the play-in if they go in the play-in. Especially you have to play Steph Curry. You know how Steph Curry's been getting hot recently, so that's something to worry about. And then you have to play the 2nd game as well. And let's say you beat the Spurs, then you got to play either the Suns or the Jazz, which that's not a great one to start out with after playing a play-in where you're fighting for your life to be in the playoff spot, especially with not a healthy LeBron James with the ankle injury. Ever since the ankle injury has not been the same as right now, which at that point, that Lakers team needs some rest at this point in time if they were to miss the playoffs.
Well, here's what I would like. I would like the rest for sure. Like whenever I hear AD say, oh, it might be good for this team to have a couple of extra games. Really? The guy who can't stay on the floor wants to play a couple extra games? Just stop. That to me just feels like nonsense. What I want is the Clippers in the 1st round, because that way, if they're going, everybody's like, oh, the Lakers won a championship because they missed the Clippers. Well, Clippers, you guys didn't take care of business against the Nuggets. That's why you didn't get your shot. This way, there's no excuses. Lakers, Clippers, 6-3, 1st round. Let's be here in LA all 7 games and just go at it. LeBron, can he stay healthy? How can Rondo help put the Clippers over the top, for playing on the Lakers last year? Can he facilitate to help Paul George and Kawhi play at a high level? Can Tyrone Lue win a championship without LeBron James? All the narratives would be so much fun for that 1st round, Clippers, Lakers at 6-3. I just don't see it. If LeBron can't come back this weekend to play, there's going to be that much more of a gap. Everybody says, the Blazers have a tougher schedule. Yeah, but the Lakers have a tough schedule, and they still have 2 more back-to-backs when what they need is rest. I just can't see them saying, hey, LeBron, play back-to-back. LeBron comes back and they lose to the Kings. They lose to the Raptors. Oh.
Yeah, I was really in shock when you guys lost to the Raptors and the Kings. I was like, they're not even going to make the playoffs, and you guys lost to both of them. So it was like, it's not looking good. That's not looking good. You're losing to the Sacramento Kings and the Toronto Raptors. They're not even going to contend for that play-in tournament. So that just says a lot about where that Lakers team is at right now, where they're struggling, trying to get LeBron back there. It's not look pretty. But we'll find out next week. We'll definitely find out next week. Can the Lakers somehow get the 6th seed at all? Unless praying that Trailblazers lose some couple of games. They're crossing your fingers, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't see. I still see how it is right now, where the standing is right now. Where the Mavericks still stay in the 5th or 6th spot. They'll probably go down maybe 1 or to say the same thing. And the Trailblazers stay right there at 6. And then the Warriors might come up a little bit up than the Lakers. Who knows? If the Lakers keep slumping. Because if Steph Curry still keeps getting hot, watch out. Watch out.
Yeah, they definitely fall to the 8th seed. There's no guarantees. If you look at any LeBron James team that he's left, they struggle when he leaves because he's so crucial to the offense. But that's what Dennis Schroeder has been able to do, is to allow a little bit less dribbling for LeBron. LeBron still tends to control the end of games, which is what you want if you have him on your team. It's why you pay him all the money. It's why we keep all the GOAT praise on him. But he needs, at 36, 18 years in, he has to now have somebody else alleviate that. And it's so weird too, because I read a story, I couldn't tell if it was legit or not. They're like, yeah, Schroeder and LeBron don't want to get vaccinated. And I was like, wait, what? They don't want to get vaccinated? Now we could have a situation where they get exposed and then they go to a quarantine situation for 10 to 14 days. It's like, that to me would be the roughest way to go out of the playoffs. It's like, oh, LeBron is excluded for coming in close contact. It would suck the life out of the NBA playoffs if that happens.
Agree. If that happens, then the Lakers are their history for this year. But this done. But this season, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Tony, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. Appreciate you. Finally got everybody on the Warzone finally now this time around. I got everybody in the making of the Warzone. So appreciate you coming on, Tony, man.
Well, yes, thank you so much for having me, E. This was fun. Thank you for letting me vent a little bit about the Lakers collapsing. I wish you a lot of luck. Fantasy season, we'll come back and see if any of my calls were right. Right? You know, we'll see how accurate I was.
We about to see that. Hopefully my sneaky MVP for next season does good too. So I'm kind of rooting for your team, Sean. Realistically, if you're hearing this right now, if you made it to the ending of this, I'm kind of rooting for your team a little bit for Herbert to be MVP so I can prove people wrong. But hey, that's what I'm going to predict there on this episode. But appreciate you guys listening to E on the Mic episode 29. I'm your host, E, and I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, see you then.